Hello and welcome to 8 Bits, a show where we search for 8 different bits in games from across all eras of games. These bits can be Easter eggs, secrets, or just hidden details that we thought were cool as heck. Oh wait, that's what Derek said. Sweet as pie. But this time we'll be looking at the Legend of Zelda series in particular, and fishing out 8 different bits from across a handful of titles. Let's dive in. A great many people know how the intro to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time plays out. The great Deku Tree foresees evil on the horizon and summons Navi the Fairy to aid Link on the dawn of his quest. It's a big deal for Link and the other Kokiri who live in the forest with him, as he was the only one without a fairy until now. This small bluish fairy would accompany Link to every end of Hyrule. But did you ever notice the colors of the fairies from the other Kokiri children? Do you remember Mito's pink fairy? No? Maybe it was green? Or yellow? Was it blue? The answer is yes, all the above. I know, I hate trick questions too. But it's true, Mito's fairy will change color every time you enter and re-enter the area, and that goes for all the Kokiri kids. Even within the same playthrough, you may not have noticed that Saria's fairy changes color each time, even during the first scene where she runs up to Link. We never get to converse with the fairy companions of our friends, making this such a small and infrequent detail that's very easy to miss. The Happy Mask Salesman from Majora's Mask originated from Ocarina of Time, though you could go the entire game without ever meeting him. Don't worry, that's not the bit. Each of the masks on display can be borrowed and sold to a potential buyer somewhere in Hyrule. Alone, the vast majority of these masks would do nothing or have no notable origin until the sequel. At least that's what the game wants you to think. The bunny hood, as fun and floppy as its ears may be, does not give you the ability to run faster. However, if you wear this at night, the Salt Children enemies that usually emerge from the ground will leave Link alone. You can run around and cause mischief at night in peace, at least until it comes off. The Skull Mask provides a similar aid. When you wear this mask, Keys will just kinda ignore your existence. This works for fire, ice, or regular Keys as well. These are very obscure and niche uses that probably won't ever need to be applied in practice, but it's cool to see the ones other than the Mask of Truth doing something. And while they have no extra uses, we might as well briefly touch on the other 2 masks that you can sell. If you talk to the man at the Lake Hylia lab wearing the spooky mask, he says that it was made from part of a coffin. This poses questions about Reed's wooden heads that I don't even want to ask. And finally, the Keeta mask will make a reference to Pokemon. This was right around the time of the Pokemon craze, so people in town will be talking about how popular it is with kids, which is fitting. Zelda, however, is the only one to outright refer to it as a mouse, and you know what? I can see it. Let's talk about masks for a little longer as we look into some of the characters in Majora's Mask. Nearly every single character in this game has more than a couple of layers to them, which has made the cast of this game so beloved. Even the enemies have more of a backstory than you might expect, and can connect in ways that you might not have realized sooner. One such character is the King of Icona, whose stronghold you infiltrate after trekking through the underground well. When you confront him, he sends his 2 lackeys out to take care of you first. After you're done dealing with Sans of Papyrus over here, the king himself will take up arms to duel you. You battle him essentially the same way as the other 2, he just has some more attack patterns. But something unique happens if you put on the captain's hat, a mask given to you by the leftover spirit of Skull Keeta. Put it on at any point during this fight and... The battle will proceed as intended after this, but it's amazing that the entire fight just comes to a full stop at this moment for a little skelly dance. The king and Keeta both have a history with each other, and in this context you'd probably tell yourself, oh, of course they do. It's such a random extra scene that can be easily missed if you don't go out of your way to try it. The sisters of Romani Ranch are some of my favorite and most fascinating characters in the game. The younger sister Romani is an energetic girl that fights to protect the cows from alien abduction, a quest which, if you fail, has its own set of consequences. Yeah, that's its own topic altogether. Her older sister Cremia, however, runs a milk business and is doing her best to keep everything running despite the presence of the moon. If you clear the alien invasion event, you can go for a ride with Cremia the next day where you learn more about her. This also leads to an event where you must defend her milk because of course you're gonna, Link's a gentleman. By successfully protecting the wagon, she gives you proof of adulthood. Cow mask. I won't question Termina's legal requirements. We're not even from this world, so clearly we can't fathom that this is peak adulthood. This is all familiar info though, right? But have you ever tried to complete this quest a second time after you already got Romani's mask? Most people wouldn't think to, considering the process. You need to bomb the massive rock with a keg, have Romani recruit you, wait for the aliens to come, then fend them off, then go forward another half day just to do the escort mission all over again. So what happens when you complete the mission perfectly a second time? Well, you have a 50-50 chance of two different things happening. In one case, she'll give you a huge ruby worth 200 rubies, very generous. But in the other case, you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Not only do you get this wonderfully obvious typo, but you get the real reward, a nice warm hug from Cremia. Considering all the other sad, depressing, and shockingly dark implications that come from her character and story, depending on how you handle the 3-day cycle, it's lovely to see a cozy and wholesome moment. You just can't put a price on a hug like this. I swear I am not jealous. The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons are a unique pair of titles for the Game Boy that interconnect with one another. Link must travel to different locales to gather 8 different essences after being summoned by the Triforce. Along the way, he'll arrive at the Sunken City, which is indeed entirely submerged in water. To the west of this is the Great Moblin Fortress, whose leader taunts Link as he can't attack back from under the cliffs. With the help of our good boy Moosh, we're able to sneak around and trigger a mini boss battle, which ends in the entirety of the fortress getting demolished. If you visit the Sunken City later, you can find the Great Moblin and his minions in a small house right down here, trying to rebuild. They're just so sad and defeated, you feel pretty bad for them. You can leave them to their business, or okay, you can also throw a bomb at their stash and... Wow. Are you proud of yourself? Come back again later and you can see visible damage to their home. So of course the most natural instinct for Link is to go inside and blow their house up again. But if you're so rude as to do this a third time, the moblins will slam you up against the wall and make you go down with the house instead, resulting in a game over. Ain't that some instant karma? I know they're the bad guys, but they're just trying to make a living, man. Also, you can stay inside the house on the first and second home-wrecking attempts where, if you don't exit in time, you'll just die. It'll still count towards the 3 total attempts to get the extra scene though. Sometimes you can't just go into someone's house and do whatever you want, Link. Twilight Princess has some of the most grandiose weapons in their applications and usage when compared to any other Zelda title. You have the Dominion Rod that can command tiny statues to massive automatons so you can massage just that right spot on your back. We have the spinner that is incredible for traversal along these rails and not much else. One item that does have plenty of uses though is the ball and chain. The sheer size of it can defend you from attacks, and it basically has the properties of a bomb. As in, the game has coded it in a way to act as a bomb explosion, being capable of destroying pretty much anything that a bomb can. With this knowledge in mind, one super obscure use is found within any cave that has cobwebs inside of them. Normally you can take your lantern and burn it away, or even use a bomb to blow it up. The bomb has attributes of fire, which explains why the cobweb burns away like this. And because of this, the ball and chain can be used to destroy cobwebs as well, by just, throwing it at it. The web even darkens the same way that it would for the other methods, showing that the explosion attribute coded into the ball's impact is burning the obstacle away. So if for some reason you're in a cave with webs, no lantern oil or bombs, but a handy ball and chain in your pockets, then there's nothing standing in your way. As you begin to get comfortable with exploration of the Great Sea in the Wind Waker, you'll come across the need to visit Greatfish Isle to claim Nehru's Pearl from the water spirit Jabun. However, the island has been destroyed, and Link must go to his home back on Outset Island and uncover a cave to retrieve it. There's no dungeon or further trial, simply finding him will grant you the pearl. Unfortunately, if this is a normal playthrough, this conversation might be lost on you, but you might notice something else when he and the King of Red Lions are chatting. Is there something familiar about this music to you? This is a remix of a song from Ocarina of Time from when you visit the inside of Lord Jabu Jabu's belly. It's most noticeable in the percussion. Have a listen. Considering Jabun may very well be a descendant of Lord Jabu Jabu, this is not entirely surprising in hindsight. Even still, it's always fun to see where a familiar song can sneak into a game, even if just for a few minutes.
Gotta admit, it's impressive that they went from literal digestive noises to something that sounds so sacred. Zelda finds a way.
Breath of the Wild leaves little pieces of lore and references to the entire Legend of Zelda series, so it's no surprise that we see bits of Wind Waker appear as well. One of these is a callback to the Island Lobster shirt, the starting outfit that we see Link in when his sister Aro wakes him up. I pretty much just always call these his pajamas. Unless you're playing on the second quest, Link will quickly change out of these to a more traditional green tunic. But it's the attributes of this shirt that we want to do a little bit of an experiment with in Breath of the Wild. This shirt can only be obtained with the Champion's Ballad DLC, and unlike other clothing, it doesn't come with a matching pair of legwear or headwear. It's listed as having a bonus of heat resistance, which makes sense for clothing worn on a fairly warm island. With only a base defense of 1 and no way to upgrade it, you might think its uses end there, but that's not the case. If you go to a raft and start sailing with a Korok leaf, you'll have a tailwind behind you. You'll be able to sail faster than normal, which could be fairly useful if you have any need for ocean traversal. And what's more fitting than the Hero of Wind's clothing making sailing easier? That's the power of pajamas. Man, there's a lot of secrets in this game. And there you have it. There's still a lot of trivia to share, not just on Zelda. Hopefully at least one of these bits were something you've never knew before. And if not, then well, aren't you smart? The best way to catch future episodes of 8-Bits would be subscribing to Good Vibes Gaming, hitting that like button so we know we're doing something you like, and ringing the bell so you know exactly when the next episode goes out. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/gvgaming and a Twitch channel at officialgvg. Thanks for checking out this episode of 8-Bits. Till we meet again.